Welcome to Hoser Hockey Hour, where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be there where you can see our... sorry, different show. Probably better. All right, Hoserville, with your host, Matthew Butch Paczynski, his royal gingerness, and serial datist, Kevin O'Hare, and the cack. Let's go.
He scores!
The microphone picked up your phone hitting the glass on the ground, though. That's great.
I heard that all the way on my end.
So
Better the glass than right in the glass.
Dude, have your buddy leave that in, man. That's comedy gold. So welcome to episode 5. Guys, we've already made like half as many as the last season, and we're actually like not getting anywhere more like in terms of like popularity, but we're still putting this shit out anyway, so that's good. This is like episode like where we're just going to talk about like just like special stuff. We had the Hall of Fame inductees this week. Did you guys watch any of the ceremonies?
Yeah, I did a little bit. A little bit of the pregame, saw a bunch of interviews, and then listened to the speeches. It's pretty compelling stuff.
Kevin, we're both from Toronto. Do you know exactly where that takes place, though?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, like right, like that hallway, like right outside the hall. Yeah, I find that pretty cool. I saw Solani's speech. Korea, I love Korea. I think that guy, had he not been injured so many times, would have had a hell of a better career. He was one of my favorite players growing up. Mark Recchi, underrated winger, perfect. Just I thought that this class, particularly the players on the player side, was a phenomenal class to be inducted in. I wouldn't have any like disregard for any player going in, because sometimes like a player gets in and we have disagreements. I know when Lindros went in, I kind of had my own thoughts on that, but Anderchuk was long overdue. Recchi, Solani, and Korea, man, like for Solani and Korea to go in the hall together was pretty special to see, because as a young fan growing in the 90s with those Anaheim Mighty Ducks of Anaheim teams, that was really nice to watch.
So like though, like as a person, like I'm gonna be honest, like I started watching hockey in 2011, so like Teemu Solani was still playing in the league when I started watching, but he was kind of on his way out when I started to follow it. So like, what do these guys mean to you? Like, was like any of these players? I know, Michael, you're talking about Korea kind of being like his career being cut short due to injury and stuff, but was there any player in this induction class that really meant something to you, or were these guys that were just kind of like, it was their time to be called in?
Well, I was too late to see Dave Andreychuk play. Like, I just saw the tail end of his career in Tampa, so I can't talk about him all that much. Mark Recchi, pretty good. Like Mike said, good role player. Very underrated guy. Very quiet, 1,500 points in his career. Like, that's pretty hard to do. But no, for me, it's Solani and Korea, because when I started watching hockey, this is around 2000 or so. That's them playing on the Ducks, man. That was pretty sick stuff in an era where there weren't a lot of goals. To see those two guys potting goals and just skating around is pretty cool.
And also, how can we forget? I mean, Korea at Salt Lake 2002. I mean, yeah, Iginla had
How can we forget it? Yeah.
Iginla had well, you didn't watch it probably, but Iginla had a hell of a tournament. Sakic had a hell of a tournament. Lemieux had a hell of a tournament. But there was Korea had a hell of a tournament himself, and just seeing him that 3-on-1 with him, Lemieux and Yzerman against Team Finland to put Canada to, oh my God, the way that he just blitzed right through there, like, that was just pure poetry, man, on the ice. So,
well, as riveting as our conversations are about the inductees, because I'm falling asleep just listening to you guys talk about that, to be honest. You know what would be actually really interesting though, just hearing you talk about the Salt Lake City Olympics. Mm-hmm. Now that the NHL aren't sending players to the 2018 Winter Olympics, does Hockey Canada pale in comparison now than when it did even like in 2014? Like, do you guys find like is Canada a great hockey team internationally without NHL players or no? Like, what do you guys think?
Probably. I mean, they're usually competitive in those other tournaments, but I don't know. I personally don't have a lot of interest in watching it this year.
Really, eh?
I mean, I probably will watch a game or two, but these guys are all washouts from the NHL who are playing in Europe or the KHL. Like,
Wait, KHL? I thought they weren't gonna go, but they're going?
that's still up in the air. I think Russia might just not be going to the whole thing. So
because of what, I guess the anti-doping thing.
yeah. Yeah, that's to be decided, I guess. There's supposed to be a ruling on it this week, and there wasn't. So who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I think the quality of it is really gonna suffer. I mean, you're missing all your top the top players in the world, right?
Right, and there's always that argument, well, it's always amateur, but I'm like, yeah, but those are amateur sports. The Olympics is best on best. I really think the NHL should be going, and we've talked about this before. Should they be going? Yeah. Am I surprised that they're not? No, and they have reasons to, although you can't say you want to grow the market in Asia, send the teams to China, and not bring them to South Korea. I mean, I understand insurance policies and logistics and all that, but I don't know, when you put that in the press, it bites you in the ass.
Oh yeah, that's having your cake and eating it too. From the NHL's perspective, they're getting away with not sending people to Korea and spending that money and stopping the season, but they still want to do China. So to them, it's a win-win to have this situation play out. But
so not only do you have an Olympic team that has ugly jerseys, but it's going to be like no one's going to watch them. So what's the point?
I didn't even want to bring it up as a topic because I'm like, what's the point? They're disgusting.
But to reminisce about 2002, since we're on the topic, that's another member of that team in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's a pretty big list already.
Oh,
that's
the
team, right? For international play.
Honestly, I think that's one of the best teams Canada has iced. I mean, 87 for sure is up there. I'd also say maybe 76. But other than 2014, 2002, man, that team, like I'd say probably 80% of that lineup is in the Hall of Fame or will be going to the Hall of Fame when all is said and done.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like when I was a kid.
And it's kind of interesting, though.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. It's kind of interesting, though, because they didn't have the hot start, remember? I mean,
they got drilled
by
game.
Sweden.
5-2 or something.
And then they only won by 1 goal to Germany, who didn't even play Kolzig. And then they tied the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
So, like, that team took a while to get going. I mean, people don't remember. There was a little bit of a panic surrounding that team because, for whatever reason, they just weren't gelling. But then, like, after the Belarus debacle, like, gold was ours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I still get goosebumps watching that gold medal game whenever it's getting replayed.
I just watched it the other day on YouTube.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though, like so that being a really great Canadian hockey team, just you guys were saying like a lot of those players are unlocked to be like Hall of Fame members. Like next year, the next class, a lot of notable names are being thrown around. In terms of who you guys have for your picks for next year, who do you guys want to see enter the Hall of Fame?
Well, you're going to see the goalie of that team go in, Marty Brodeur. I think that's the biggest slam dunk there's been in a while.
He's okay.
He's okay, yeah. Only first in wins and shutouts, no big deal.
No, that's nothing. That's nothing. He's no Ben Scrivens, I'll tell you that. No, I agree. I agree. I think Brodeur should be in there. St. Louis?
Yes. He's got a cup and a Hart Trophy and a couple of Rosses. That's good enough to get in. Point per game player.
We also talked about do you think Alfredsson would be a good, like, would he go in next year?
It's a tough one. I think he will get in at some point. I think next year probably would be, just because there's such a drop off of guys that are eligible. Like these older guys that aren't in, like an Andrechuk kind of thing. Maybe you sneak one or two of those guys in ahead of him, like maybe a Pierre Turgeon or Steve Larmer, something like that. Some of these older guys.
Yeah. It's funnily enough, I actually worked with Larmer's niece back at the CN Tower days, or I call that the dark period of my life, the abyss. Okay, I was gonna say Haley Wickenheiser. I think Haley Wickenheiser, if she's eligible, will be going in. But I want to throw this one to you, Jeremy Roenick, JR. Does he finally go in this year?
I don't know if it'll be this year, but I think he's a guy who's going to get in as well. I mean, what is he, like third all time among U.S. born players in points? I mean, he has not so much the individual awards or the team awards. Like, he never won a cup. I don't think he was ever, in the conversation for a Hart Trophy or in the scoring race. But
okay,
a guy who put up points.
Neither was Recchi.
Yeah, but Recchi's got 3 cups.
Well,
on
Recchi
3
won
teams.
cups. Recchi's got 3 cups on 3 teams. Okay, never mind. Forget I said that. I honestly think, you know what? He played in an era where the scoring leader or the scoring champions were Gretzky, Lemieux, and Yager. I think he got 50 goals twice. He reached 100 points 3 times. He's 4th overall in American scoring forwards. I don't know. I think I know some people are predicting he doesn't get in this year, but you know what? I'm looking at who's up next, like the year after and stuff. I don't know. I like Jeremy Roenick. I know a lot of people weren't really keen on his antics, but you know what? He did help grow the hockey, the sport. He did grow the sport wherever he played. He went to Los Angeles. He grew the sport there. Post Gretzky, he went to Phoenix when they wore those hideous jerseys. He grew the sport there. He was a diehard Blackhawk. I think he's outspoken. Some might not like it, but I think, you know what, he was a great player. And you know what, I'll tell you this, because I've been following a lot of particular players for a long time. I think no one had more will to win a Stanley Cup than Jeremy Roenick. He wanted that cup bad. And I've read, I think he wrote 2 books, but I read his first book like 3 or 4 times. And like, it eats at him. Like, he really wanted that cup. And you could see it when Chicago won their first cup in 2010.
Yeah.
With Taves and Kane, like crying, like he was in tears. And then Milbury had to open his mouth and ruin everything. Classic Milbury. But that guy had such a will to win, and it sucks that he didn't get that dream, because I think that next to Ray Bourque winning a cup, Jeremy Roenick winning a cup would have been a great story, especially with those San Jose teams that could have gone all the way. Yeah.
So, still one of my best and worst memories of Jeremy Roenick is from 2004 in the playoffs when he knocked the Leafs out in overtime. A nice little snipe over Eddie Belfour's shoulder. That was the last time the Leafs made the playoffs in a full season until last year. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I remember him coming down the wing and just sniping that. Man, seriously.
And jumping and cheering, like that was a big goal.
Honestly though, like, you really got to read, like, his book is probably one of the best. Oh my gosh. It's probably one of the best books I have read in a very long time. It is so funny. Like, some of the stories he has and some of the opinions he has on some players he played with and against. Oh my God. Like, I've read that book probably 3 or 4 times. It never gets old for me. And I remember that playoff game. I kind of was wanting Toronto to win. Like, I know Cujo and Pat Quinn were gone at that point, but I was still pulling for you guys. And, That was tough.
That was a tough one. So speaking of Curtis Joseph, what do you think about his chances to get into the Hall of Fame? Like, he's
you know what, he's
5th all time in wins, and had a pretty good career, but again, no Vezina trophy, no cup. Like that's
Well, it's funny that because I have two maybes here. Curtis Joseph is one of them. Tim Thomas is the other. Tim Thomas doesn't have the longevity, but he has the Vezina and he has the cup. For Curtis Joseph, he was a top 5 goaltender, and every year he played as a regular.
yeah,
Right?
100%.
Like the St. Louis days, the Dallas days, the Toronto days. Like he was a top 5 goaltender. And I've met Cujo. I've actually met him. He's one of my favorite players, and he's the only reason I have a Leaf jersey. So as much as I would love for that guy to get in the Hall of Fame, I just don't see it happening this year. Because if Roenick is a toss-up, I don't know if Joseph could be, because I don't think he's never really he's been a silent winner. Like he hasn't put in the big numbers. He's won the games, but I don't know. I don't think you put him on the pedigree. And I know I get it. Like forwards, goaltenders are different, but I don't think you put him on the pedigree as a Jeremy Roenick.
No,
I'd love to see him in. Absolutely. I just realistically, I don't know if that's in the cards.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are you Cricky from Big Bang Theory now, or
Koopa?
All right, I got one more.
Talking about
for
my
ya.
speech impediment?
So one more guy.
Go ahead.
This might be a controversial pick. I don't know, but what would you think of Theoren Fleury getting a look?
Ooh.
He's a point-a-game player. He's got a Stanley Cup. He had a pretty successful career. That Olympic gold in 2002.
He was a good shutdown guy in 2002. I remember. He was. I remember a lot of the staff were very hesitant on picking him for the team, but he had a hell of a tournament. Ooh, I could make the same case for Fleury that I can for Roenick. Personal stuff aside, I think he has a less of a chance than Roenick does.
And why do you say that?
Because I know personal stuff gets thrown into it, has something to do with it, and I know, not his fault or whatever, and I know like Ed Belfour is now in the Hall of Fame and he's had some personal issues, but I don't know. While I've been watching or following hockey, Fleury hasn't had that same kind of pedigree that Roenick has. Like and I know Roenick hasn't won like any like Art Rosses or Harts, and I'm not really sure of Fleury's numbers, but they weren't as high as Roenick's like better seasons, or like, are they? Like I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but just listening to all the buzz and watching and reading some stories, it was a name that came up a couple times and kind of made me think like, yeah, like he was a noticeable player when he played and was definitely an effective player when he played, but the way his career kind of just ended, and I guess not so much controversy, but you have the substance abuse problems and the behavior issues, and it seems like the Hall of Fame voters are a little old school yet, so I can kind of see where they would be coming from with not voting for a guy like that.
Yeah, he did average more than a point per game. He had 2 100-point seasons, 150 goal season. I don't know. Just like you said, like with the whole old way of thinking, that could play a part in it. I don't know. I don't know how they decide, but that would be an interesting selection. I don't know. I still think Roenick does have a better shot than Fleury or a Joseph. What do you think, Kevin?
I mean, I have no fucking clue what you guys are saying. So, I mean, like, at that point, whatever Michael said, he knows more than I do, so I'm going to agree with Michael. Just copy whatever he said.
All right, so I'll throw this to you, Kevin, since you're a more present-day hockey fan. You're a little more in tune with the players these days. Who of the players that you watch in the league do you think would be Hall of Famers by the time their careers are over?
Connor McDavid.
Sidney Crosby? No. I would like to see Sergei Bobrovsky. Because if he can win a Stanley Cup, I think he'd probably be, because he has a Vezina trophy and his numbers are pretty decent. He has 2 Vezinas. Thank you, Michael. I'd say definitely anyone from the current Chicago Blackhawks. So I'd say Jonathan Toews is probably a shoo-in when he's eligible. Same with Patrick Kane. I'd like to see Patrick Marleau or Joe Thornton get some sort of recognition. I'd say Patrick Marleau maybe would probably be inducted for sure. Now, like, in terms of, well, Yager definitely, like as soon as he retires, like the day he's eligible, they're probably going to give him the call. I don't know what you guys.
That
think
day
of.
is never gonna happen because
he's not going to stop playing. Yeah,
he's immortal.
We're still a decade away from that. Let's be honest.
What do you think, Mikey? Like, who do you see playing right now going to make it?
Well, right now, I mean, I'm still thinking about Timmy Thomas, because he hasn't had the longevity, but he's got the cups, he's got the Vezinas. I don't see him, but currently, I mean, other than like all the ones you mentioned, I'd have to say probably not Carey Price right now, Duncan Keith. I mean, he's one of the NHL top 100. I know we talked about kind of how we had a little bit of a disagreement with that, but I could see him getting in the Hall of Fame if he's already an NHL 100. Anyone else currently? Ovi, yes, Ovi. Lars Eller, no. PK, you know what? PK Subban, I don't know.
Well, see, like, it's interesting because like we're talking about players here who were of a different generation where they were playing in dynasty era almost, like 80s and 90s. Like, you don't see teams, like, you don't see people coming off, like, besides like the current Chicago Blackhawks. Like, can you name a player like in the last few years that have won like back to back Stanley Cup trophies? No.
Drew Doughty, Anze Kopitar, Jeff Carter.
No, but like just like in terms of like someone like Carey Price, does he have a shot of making it one day if he doesn't win a Stanley Cup, or no?
Well, if he gets his act together and stop playing like an ECHL goaltender, maybe. You can't just go 1 or 2 seasons of playing well and go in, because then if that's the case, then Jose Theodore should go in the Hall of Fame. If he picks it up, if he gets healthy and picks it up and does well, or traded, then probably. But
now, Mike,
based on his play so far, I wouldn't say that he should be.
Let me ask you about your current favorite player now, whom you have his jersey, Shea Weber. Is he eligible, do you think? Like, does he have enough of like of an actual Matt's shaking his head.
No.
Don't hate, motivate.
It's not that I hate Shea Weber, and it's not that he plays for Montreal or anything. He just doesn't have the numbers and the hardware yet for me to say, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer guy.
He hasn't won a Norris. That is true. He has not won a Norris, but he has been a consistent player throughout his entire career. In terms of, look, I'd like to see Weber in the Hall of Fame, but I agree with Matt. He doesn't have the pedigree really. I mean, yeah, he's been the best defenseman on Canada's best Olympic teams for the last 2 Olympics, but I don't know. I'd also make a case for Chara, as much as it pains me.
Yeah.
Zdeno Chara, maybe?
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the Bruins, what about Patrice Bergeron? That's a guy I could make a pretty hard case for, I
Olympic
think.
gold medalist.
He's got a cup. He's a
Bergeron.
perennial Selke winner.
You know what? If Gainey's in the Hall of Fame, then Bergeron's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What about Stamkos?
No.
Unless he gets healthy, like he starts playing full seasons, I don't see him getting in there. He's just been injured too much.
Plus a couple cups.
Well,
But like Ovechkin, we were saying he's going to get in. He hasn't won a cup yet. I mean,
Yeah,
albeit
but
he wins
Ovi's
Rock Richard
got-
after Rock Richard, but he doesn't have a Stanley Cup though.
No, but the goal scoring, he's the most prolific goal scorer of the last decade. That to me is worth something. He's scoring 50 goals when 50 goals is a pretty rare thing to see.
No, it's interesting, man, because like, you know what, like it's like we're watching hockey now that our kids, we're going to talk about like saying like, oh, we used to see like Bobby Ryan, not to say Bobby Ryan's anything to just really like just look at, but like we're watching players now that we'll be able to talk about to our kids in like a couple decades and be like, yeah, I used to watch like Connor McDavid play in like his first year, and like no one gives a shit about Jack Eichel, so like we're not going to mention him. But it's just like, it's so true, man. Like you laugh because it's just like, who actually like, oh God, I'm getting triggered.
Triggered.
No, I already kind of do that with some players. Like I grew up watching Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman and Nick Lidstrom and Dominic Hasek. Like those are the guys I grew up with watching hockey, and they're, Hall of Famers now.
Oh, dude, it's too bad we're not doing the video podcast anymore. People can't see your tits dancing, Mikey. That's like, I'm getting turned on listening to that, watching that.
You lost my train of thought. Okay. Yzerman versus Sakic. Who's the better player and why?
Oh man, don't make me choose.
See?
Who's the better GM?
That's Yzerman, hands down.
That's Yzerman, hands down.
You know what? I gotta go with Yzerman because he played on the bum knees for so long, and he dragged that team out of mediocrity in the late 80s, early 90s, and he's the heart and soul of that team. Like, say what you will about the surrounding cast, those Red Wing teams those are arguably the best teams of the 90s and early 2000s. But yeah, like Sakic had the surrounding cast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had the Forsberg, the Blake, Foote, Wah. Yeah. You know what? That's a tough one. Like for like diehard hockey people, like Yzerman versus Sakic, that's one where they I like them both.
I tried to give a justified answer there, but that's a toss-up.
No, you make a good point. I mean, Yzerman also has what? Does he have 2 cups or 3 cups?
3.
Okay, so he has more than Sakic, right?
Yeah, Sakic's got the 2.
Because Sakic I know has 2. Yeah, he has 2. So, but Sakic's wrister though.
Oh, that
dude.
2002 Olympics gold medal game.
Dude, Mike, you need to calm down, man. Like it's just like I don't want you getting any more harder than you actually are. But like with regards to, like we're saying like players like Sidney Crosby now are like whiny. Like, like we're saying like certain players are annoying now. I wonder like in like the day of like Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman, like who was like a popular player back then that people were probably saying, oh, he's a whiner, or like, oh, like
Gretzky.
Yeah. So basically anyone that's really good is like a baby.
Well, I mean, as much as I love 99,
I mean, you just got his jersey, man.
I did. I got the LA King circa 1992 jersey. As much as I love 99, I think that would be a great kid name. It would be, okay.
Yeah, you name your kid that.
Yeah, I named my kid 99. But he did like talk to the refs a lot. He did yap a lot to the refs. Darcy Tucker, but I mean,
I was gonna say Tucker and Corson.
And
that
who?
Was Shane Corson.
So Austin Matthews, just going back earlier to what we're saying, like shoe-ins for like Hall of Fame thing. Is it too early to say Austin Matthews is going to be? Do you think so?
He can't play one season.
But like we're saying Connor McDavid.
Because if that's the case, then Joe Juneau goes in the Hall of Fame.
I didn't say
exactly.
Nothing. Yeah. Oh God, Joe Juneau. That's an old name,
right? I mean, we can't just go based on one season. Joe Juneau had over 100, maybe near 150 points in his. No, I forget now. I'm getting confused on players here, but we can't just go based on one season. That's not how this works, and that's why I think Tim Thomas might not be in the Hall of Fame, is because while he did have the 2 Vezinas, the Stanley Cup, his NHL
it was
career
a very
was
short time
less than
frame
10 years for sure. Yeah. And so I mean, having said that, you need longevity as well. Yes, the awards are important. Yes, the cups are play a part. But at the end of the day, I mean, you look at all those guys: Andrechuk, Correa, Solani, Recchi. those guys played a long time, and which is why I was shocked. Yeah. Which is why I was kind of like, I was not sure about Lindros because I didn't think he had the longevity there. You know, he missed giant parts of seasons because of concussions and rumor. But
Shay can edit that out. That's okay.
But longevity does play a part in it for sure, and I think Jágr. Hypothetically, would they, like they did Gretzky, waive the 3-year rule for Jágr?
Gretzky was a one-time thing because it was.
Well, you got to get 99 in 1999, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So speaking of longevity, what about like a guy like Roberto Luongo? You know, you're talking about hardware, you know, yeah, it's all right, but that's a guy who's put up the wins, had very successful seasons. He's been to a cup final. He's got the Team Canada gold.
Hasn't won a Vezina, has he?
Never won a Vezina. I think he's got a Jennings trophy from one of the seasons in Vancouver.
Oh.
But I think that might be split with Corey Schneider.
Right now, why doesn't he? But like, see, like I feel like Roberto Luongo is in the same conversation as a guy like Ryan Miller. Like that sort of quality, like in his heyday, like he was like above average goalie, but then he just kind of drops off the older he gets.
I think Ryan Miller is near the same class as Luongo, but I think that's your Sabre
like in his heyday.
Glasses.
That's my bias playing factor. Absolutely.
I think that Luongo should go in the Hall of Fame just for being a captain and just having to deal with all that shit he went through in Vancouver near the end.
I wish we lived in a reality where like a guy like John Scott could get into the Hall of Fame just for everything he did. Like,
he's going to be in NHL record books everywhere. No, look at this. Check this out. He's going to be in NHL record books forever, being the NHL All-Star MVP. You're going to have guys like Danny Heatley and all these great players, you know, Brendan Shanahan, Joe Sakic, all playoff MVPs. And then you have John Scott.
Which is basically just like a meme. Like to get him in, like it was just basically like a troll.
The NHL tried to trade. Well, no, they got him traded to Montreal. So
bury him in St. John's, and that'd be the end of that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious, man. But like, thank God we witnessed that. That's history, right?
You know what, man? Honestly, that was one of the best stories to come out of the NHL in the last 3 years.
That was actually one of, like, in my opinion, like one of the last decent All-Star games in like recent memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke now. It's
literally a meme.
It's a meme. Oh my God. It was a novelty thing. And speaking of novelty things,
dude, your segues are getting a lot better.
I've only had the one today. Matt had a better one. I'm just, plowing along. Winter Classic jerseys came out for Montreal and Ottawa. We all know that big rivalry that everyone likes to talk about. Almost as good as the Washington-Toronto rivalry, although, who am I to say? But I have to say this. NHL, why are you so allergic to Montreal and Toronto playing against each other in a Winter Classic? I mean, it's only been the longest rivalry in the NHL. Like, am I wrong?
No.
Am I alone here?
I've been thinking that for pretty much since they started doing the thing.
Like, why was the Centennial Classic Detroit and Toronto again?
Yeah, after we had it, 2 years before that? Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the TV stuff and trying to grow the game in the U.S., and it's, at this point, just a poor excuse. I don't know. I think there are fans down south that would watch a Toronto-Montreal game if they were really hockey fans.
Well, and here's the thing, though. You've had Montreal-Calgary. You've had Ottawa and Vancouver. Right? So it's not as if, they're that afraid of having Canadian teams. They just don't want to call it a Centennial or a Winter Classic, the Heritage Classic, Montreal Edmonton. I mean, we remember that. We remember that game. So I am so shocked that they keep refusing to put those two teams together. Now, I think it's great they don't do it this year because Montreal sucks and will probably lose. But that is like next to Montreal and Boston, Montreal and Toronto, man. Like that's like one of the top 2 rivalries in the National Hockey League, and it astounds me that they will not do it, and they make that debate. Oh, well, because American viewership won't watch it. Since when was Montreal and Ottawa a rivalry? When was Montreal and Calgary a rivalry? Oh, the late 80s. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We're going to take that section of the 80s and we're going to call that a rivalry. These teams are the only 2 teams in the National Hockey League that are 100 years old. And I think it's stupid that the Centennial Classic was not 2 teams that celebrated 100 years. Nothing against Detroit, but I'm sorry. You have nothing on the rivalry of Montreal. I mean, just look at the history. Anglophone Canadians versus the Francophone Canadians. That whole division, that separation. Maurice Richard being the face of Quebec.
Just imagine the cool alumni game and all the alumni stuff you'd be able to get with that kind of game. Hey,
you don't have to get them off their wheelchairs. They're not even know where
some of them out of the grave, kind of maybe.
Just resurrect them. Why not? Just perform miracles. But like, it's interesting because I think the like in my opinion, my stupid humble opinion that means nothing. Why like is it just purely viewership? Is it Gary Bettman's reluctancy to admit that like he wants to see Canadian markets flourish? Like it just seems that like because Montreal and Toronto, even a passive hockey fan in the States has probably heard of that rivalry at least once. So I mean, like it would make sense, especially as Michael was saying, for Centennial teams, like, it would be the perfect narrative. Like a rivalry that's lasted this long, that's still that intense. Like that's a storyline that would write itself. So the fact they're not doing it doesn't make any sense besides just ratings and money.
Also, there are the only 2 major cities in Toronto that pretty much everyone in the States has heard of.
In Toronto or Canada?
Like in the U.S., I'm saying. Like Montreal and Toronto, those are the big Canadian cities. I mean, yeah, you have Vancouver, but not many people down there know about Ottawa. Not many people down there know about Calgary. So, or even Edmonton for that matter. So it's kind of really odd that the NHL is reluctant to do that. I think think of the like. I mean, just take like their best, take the best 20 players on each team in history. And my God, like what a squad that you would have there. I love hockey, but I hate the NHL. And that's just one of the things I just don't understand. I don't understand why Washington, Toronto would be a good idea. Like who woke up and was like, I got an idea. I mean, they're going to sell tickets regardless, but I don't care about Toronto and Washington.
And if you don't care, no one else will.
No one else does.
You know what I don't care about anymore?
I'm glad I'm finally realizing that your opinion means everything.
You know what I don't care about anymore is seeing Chicago play in the freaking Winter Classic. I'm tired of it. Stop shoving Chicago down my throat.
Yeah, no, because that's a big cog that none of us can really handle. But like to be honest, you said Blackhawks. I said Hawks, Michael. Get your head out of the gutter.
Oh my God.
No, but you know what? Like, how many more? You know what? It's interesting. Like, at what point are we going to see? Like, at what point are enough people going to complain, and the NHL is finally going to put other teams there? Because I feel like if no one watches it, then of course they'll have to change the formula. If people just keep watching at the same viewership, nothing's going to change. Why would the NHL care if they're making a profit? Like, if they're making money?
I don't think I've.
Who cares who the?
I haven't watched the last 2 or 3 Winter Classics. I just don't care anymore. It's become such a gimmicky thing.
But then you have TSN and Sportsnet promoting it at the end.
He shoots.
And then you have like just like the stands are filled, and it's just like they're making something off of it. Like they wouldn't keep doing the same teams if people weren't watching it. Like you don't see an Arizona Buffalo Winter Classic because that would just be stupid.
Arizona and Vegas
showdown
in the Winter Classic. Yes,
the Desert Classic.
Yeah, the only with no one there other than a few Vegas fans.
And Michael.
And me, definitely, I'd be there. Are you kidding, man? I'm so glad that Arizona only has 2. Well, they might get a third if they.
Remember when I said at the end of the last podcast, my hot take was they would double their win total by the time we did the next one, and they
I know,
doubled it. That's pretty sad.
They doubled it.
Yeah, it went from 1 to 2.
2-15-3 at this point of this recording, ladies and gentlemen. Like
they don't have a regulation win yet. Both their wins were in overtime.
Oh, well, that might change if they play the Habs tonight. Hey, man, we got Niemi. Our goaltending problems are solved for the other team.
Was he not like? Correct me when I'm going to say something really stupid here. Was he not good with San Jose?
No.
Was he not decent for San
No.
Jose or no?
Chicago
No,
won
he's
their
horrible.
first cup in spite of Antti Niemi. Those were some shootout games against Philly.
You know who's actually surprising me is like just because I'm thinking of like Dallas because Niemi was supposed to be their problem and supposed to help Lettinen, but that didn't really
Look
work
at
out at all.
Niemi's on his third team before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Third team.
But like, are you guys surprised by the play of Ben Bishop right now?
I honestly don't even know how Ben Bishop is doing right now. Shows how much I care about the Dallas Stars.
I mean, they're in a playoff spot, so I'll give you that. In terms of Ben Bishop, let me just take a minute to research his stats before I make an informed opinion.
Yeah, because like you know what, like that's the way to do it, man. We're not gonna just talk out of our butts. Like we're not that kind of podcast. But you know what, man, like. See, Matt's texting on his phone. He's checked
I'm
out.
watching the
As soon as we mentioned
Leafs
Dallas,
game
like,
on
he's
my
done.
laptop down here.
Oh, they're in overtime.
Yeah.
My friend's texting me saying, "Oh, like because I told a friend about the show. Shout out to Ruby if she's listening to this.
Oh, I saw her comment on you stole her grandfather's sweater.
Yeah, and it's a damn fine sweater, and I will return it. Yeah,
I had no problem with it.
but like, she actually texted me. She's like, "Oh, be sure to tell Matt to check the update stories because she knows that because she's a big Leafs fan and she loves you because you like
nice.
the Leafs too."
Oh, what's wrong with me?
Well, she thinks you're hilarious. She thinks you're hilarious. She thinks Matt's the Leafs fan, and I'm just the one that means nothing.
You're the glue that puts this together, man.
Oh no, I'm like you said, like the Adam Wilde of this show. God, what a great title that is, eh? Oh my God! And see, Matt's zoned out.
They're killing a penalty, man. It's intense.
Yeah, you're shooting a show, man. Those highlights are not going anywhere. You can see that in the morning.
You have to experience live.
When was the last time you watched a full game?
With you?
That was the last full NHL. You haven't seen like the Habs play, just like.
Oh God, no! I wouldn't put myself through that torture.
Oh man, see, like that's.
I checked out in Game 3, man. Game 3, man. They just were playing horrible. I'm like, I'm done. This season's gone.
Imagine your feeling right now, but that's been me the last like 4 years.
Basically, the whole time you've been a Sabres fan.
Hey, you got Jack Eichel, man.
Yeah, that means like he's worse. Like I could say, like honestly, like all joking aside, he's probably gonna have like a worse career than like I say like a Daniel Alfredson, like of that tier.
Well, he's
player,
gonna get
in my opinion.
paid pretty handsomely for it. So
I know, for nothing, because Pagula has a fat wallet that he's just dishing all of his money to. And no, we're not talking about the Sabres because no one gives a shit about that team. But you know what though, with like, what do you guys think? Are we close to last minute of play, or what do you guys like? I'm trying to like, we're about that time, no?
yeah, it can be that time.
Well, I think Matt wants it to be over.
Well, it depends on the outcome of this game here.
I don't know. Oh my God. You know what? It could be worse. He could be looking at a porn right now, but he's not.
Oh no, because yeah, no, thank God for that. Yeah. But no, like, you know what though, like, notable, like, just like, since we're talking about Hall of Fame, what a nice way to just end this conversation. Who do you think is going to be the best player of this generation to not enter the Hall of Fame, in your opinion?
Ooh, I like that question.
You asked a very deep question there, Kevin.
I mean, I've been pretty quiet this whole episode, so I thought I'd just like throw a zinger there at the end.
Oh, Freddie.
Because I
Brian Flynn.
Scott Gomez.
Torrey Mitchell.
Do 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 do.
See, Matt's hoping that we're talking because he's still watching the game.
Man, that's a hard
do you think,
question.
I'd probably go with Weber. Like, if he doesn't win like any Norris trophies, he's got the longevity on his side. He's an amazing defenseman. But I'd like to say he'd be a Hall of Famer, but that's a tough one. If Weber's never in the Hall of Fame, that'd be my pick.
You know what though? Like, maybe I'm just being stupid, but I think the best player to probably not enter the Hall of Fame likely would probably be like Phil Kessel. I think. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, he has won Stanley Cup, but...
Two-time Stanley Cup hot dog eating champion.
yeah.
I mean, that's a fair point, Mikey. But I don't know. He doesn't really have anything else to... But if that's all you need is Stanley Cups, then I guess he's in, yeah.
Okay, I got one for you.
Chris Letang?
John Tavares.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
I mean, it's a little premature because he's
Shout out to
still
your dad
got
for teaching him in high school.
half his career probably ahead of him, but...
Well, he's been on some very garbage Islander
there we
teams.
go, Willie. Good job. 2.2 seconds left. All right. Nice.
Matt's happy that the game is still
No,
on.
it just ended. Yeah,
But
Nylander
Leafs
just
won.
scored. It's all good.
Damn it!
2.2 seconds left. 1-0 win. That's pretty sick.
Oh no. No, Kevin, don't jump. Kevin, don't jump. You have a lot to live for. Don't. Okay.
No, do it.
Oh, God damn it.
Did you have money on that game?
No, but one of my friends said she said that she was gonna like that girl we just talking about. She was in that Nylander's probably gonna score the game-winning goal. I'm like, you're full of shit.
Oh, she called it.
Not you. I'm surprised that you, Mr. Clairvoyant, didn't call it, Michael. But you know,
Oh, I did. I totally called it. It was in my
your
mind.
head, yeah.
In my head.
That's
in
the
my
way
head.
to snap a goal-scoring drought, that's for sure.
John Tavares, I will say this. Back to Tavares because we got to let this go. Tavares is wasting his career in the
he has
on
to
the
leave
island.
this summer.
I really believe
100%.
that.
If he stays, he's just...
But do you see that
Yes.
happening?
I think he will finally be the guy that leaves.
You do.
Oh, the Islanders are such a show, man. Like, no one wants to play there.
Yeah, I agree, man. That Barclay, is it still called the
I
Barclays
think so.
Center?
Yeah, the one where half the people can't see because the walls
It looks
are in
so
front of them.
depressing, man. Yeah, like it's such a depressing venue. Like someone I was at the Canada Games with actually went to the Islander Edmonton game the other day, and I'm looking at the seats and I'm like, it's empty, it's depressing, it's dark. I mean, then you look at the Bell Center or ACC, and it's just like there's so much life in there, man.
Yeah.
JT,
Yeah, I think if
Get
he
out.
wants to
Free
to
Tavares.
make something of his career, he has to get off the aisle. Because there's no supporting cast there. There's nothing coming up the pipes. Get out. Yeah.
good point.
Don't ask me where he's gonna go. I have no idea. But
No, nobody does. I don't even think he even has an idea right now where he would be going. But I have Letang and Weber. Matt has Tavares. Who did you say it?
Kessel.
And you said Kessel. Not bad.
I think we did okay.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a good tagline for this episode. Not bad. Oh man,
right.
Serviceable. Yeah.
Serviceable. Well, should I? Okay. Well, thanks guys for watching or listening to us.
Yeah, that was the last episode.
Yeah, that was last episode. We did a vodcast last episode. Check that out.
Matt wasn't there because he's stuck in the middle of nowhere.
But it's okay because he said it was okay to do it. So it was with his blessing, and he loved it.
When he's here in the summer, maybe we can do something else.
Hey,
He loved
you
it,
guys
right?
want to?
Did he
You guys
love
want to
it?
put a bet on the Rider game this weekend?
Okay, you have to explain to people what that is.
Okay, there's this sport called football that you don't play with your feet.
Never heard of it.
And there's a Canadian version that is kind of a little worse than the American version. But we have this team in Saskatchewan called the Rough Riders, and it's our everything. And they happen to be in Toronto playing the Argonauts in the Eastern Division semifinal. Don't ask why they're in the East Division semifinal. It's too complicated. But I'm a huge Rough Rider fan, and these two dorks here are Argos fans. So, yeah, I think we should put a little friendly wager on this game, hey?
A gentleman's agreement. I'll be down for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to. I'm not going. It turns out. Our uncle. I talked about it, and it's going to be too much money, and the weather's going to be crap. But I don't really follow the CFL as much as I used to, so I'm just going to stick.
Going to the ship. What?
I'm gonna say just probably Rough Riders because because didn't the Argos have a losing record going into this
Yeah.
playoffs? Okay, so then there's my pick. I mean,
Whoever's worse. Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
that's not a bad bet. Yeah.
I don't
That's
care.
fine.
Go Riders. Go,
You
I
guys
don't
can
care.
buy me
I
a lunch
really-
when I come out there this summer.
Why would we buy
Because the
you
Riders
lunch?
are going to win.
But we're betting with
Oh,
you.
well, that's no fun then. Well, f- this. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Oh, Matt swore.
What
And
did he oh, did he swear?
he did.
Oh my God, you were doing so good.
I know. I
And
didn't.
then he ruined it.
I know. Well, I did say
He shoots.
a couple times though, so
He scores.
That's nothing. Come on.
we can edit that out later.
Okay, guys. Well, Matt's not happy that we're choosing his team for a change. Watch the Argos win, and then we look like fools. So like, subscribe. I know you guys don't do either, but it's
So true,
Someday.
man.
what do you say?
Someday.
Someday, perhaps.
Wait, what do you say? Oh man. Oh, we should end this before
All
it gets
right.
worse.
Peace out. Thank you for tuning in, Hosey. Let's just go. Let's just end it.
This podcast was produced in part by Urban Grin Productions.